happy to talk to you today because you have so much to share.
Hi, Han. It's really nice to be here, and thank you for inviting me and having me here and giving me the chance to talk about it. And.
Yeah, as I said, we
Yeah.
have a lot to talk about. And please tell us, to the people who don't know you, who you are and where you come from. Just a short.
So I was many years ago. I was more than 50. I was born in Italy, and it was the time in the 80s as I was a teenager and a little older then. It was the time where the reining horses came in and the Western riding was starting, and like every not every child, but most kids, I loved horses, and I started riding a little bit in the summertime here and there. And when I was very small, the only thing available was English riding,
Yeah.
and I never got really into the most of it was the environment around the English riding, that type of riding. So when a reining horse facility came and was built close to where I was living, I could get my bicycle and ride over there. And like the kids, where the parents won't pay for riding lessons, they want nothing to do with riding. You have to go to school and get a real job, and because horses are not a job, you're never going to make a living and all that stuff. So what you do, you go there, you ride your bicycle, you sneak out there, you're trying to learn, and then maybe you end up cleaning some stalls so you can have a little bit of a lesson, and
Yeah.
so and that environment, the Western riding environment, was more what appealed to me, and that's how my Western adventure started. And then I got more and more into it, liked it more and more. And I decided that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Mm.
And so in Italy, we only had reining. So, of course, the idea was I'm going to become a reining horse trainer. And I just, that's going to be my livelihood. But at that time, so we're talking about late 80s. And so I was about 17, 18. And at that time in Italy, it's Southern Europe, Latinos, and kind of this macho man culture.
Yeah.
So there wasn't that much room for a woman, a girl at that time, wanting to do reining seriously. And the
May
trainers, yeah.
yeah, maybe you should just explain short what Rainers is for people who have never been in the Western world.
Um, I guess it is comparable to dressage, but I don't like to use the term cowboy way today. It's kind of, you know, doesn't have a very nice
Yeah, but we know what you
nice
mean.
connotation, but
Yeah.
it started everything in the Western riding started from when you ride on the ranch and the work you do with the horses. And so reining started to where you have a good trained horse that can work with cattle, can go around the ranch, but it can also make figures and patterns like spins. I guess in the dressage you would call it pirouettes, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
We can do stops, and then we can do slide stops, we can do rollbacks, so you stop and you turn around real quick. And it evolved more and more, and now it's very technical, and it's comparable to dressage, even though we don't have exactly the same movements and same patterns to it, but it's the closest thing
Yeah.
that can come to. And so then I decided, I said, well, in Italy, we did not have the trainers. Well, their competency was, quite limited and stuff. So I wanted to go learn, but really learn, seriously learn, to make it my profession. So in 1990, so I was about 20 years old, I left Italy, and I didn't know English. So the States weren't my first pick. So which other country has reining horses and Western riding, but they speak French? Because I also speak French. So I went to Canada first. That was my first pick. Went to Quebec and stayed there for about a year and a half, and worked in a reining horse barn with a trainer, and the guy also was doing breeding. So that's also where I got introduced with the breeding and the stallions and the mares and the foaling and all that. So that's how it started.
That's great. Yeah, but you came to USA later on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did, because of course things in life happen, and so this trainer had put his farm for sale. There was about 6 or 7 of us working there at the time, and so he had put his farm for sale because he was going to move to the States, to North Carolina, if I remember correctly. And Canada, it's beautiful, but in the winter time, it's yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then first you get the and then you get the because you got all the mud and all the stuff. So
Right.
basically you end up riding inside of a covered arena for 6 months or more. And then when the spring come and you pass the of the mud, it's a disaster because your horses are scared of everything.
Yeah.
They haven't seen anything all winter long. So it's not the ideal. And Canada used to be, especially Quebec, used to be where they had very little important shows, especially for a reiner. And so all the trainers always used to go down to the States anyway. First in Columbus, Ohio, where they had the Congress in September, if I remember correctly, and then down to Oklahoma City, where they had the big reining futurity. So it was a wise decision for him to sell and move to the States. But it left us all, the kids at that time, because we were all 17, 18, 20, 25 at the most, we had to find another place to go. And I didn't really want to go back to Europe yet because I felt I didn't learn enough. And there was, a whole world out there. And so I decided to go down to the States. But how was I going to do that since I could not speak English?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know the feeling. I'm living in Hungary.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. So a friend of mine who was speaking English at that time, we still have the Rainer magazine, but at that time it was very small compared to what it is today. And the last 2 pages were full of trainers' business cards.
Yeah, yeah.
So with him, we sat there on the couch and we went through all the numbers on those business cards. And he asked, he said, well, hi, do you need some extra help? Do you need some extra help? Back then, we could move. It was easier to move from farm to farm and just work. You work and you learn in exchange. Now today, it's a little more complicated because everybody wants you to pay. So yeah, the situation for somebody who had no money and just wanted to learn, I think back then was easier compared to today.
Yeah, sure.
So I ended up in Claiborne, Texas. not speaking English in the heart of Texas, where they were speaking with y'alls and we wases.
Yeah.
But I made it, in 6 months. I was able to understand people and have a survival conversation.
Yeah.
And there too was a reining horse facility, and they had broodmares, and they had a couple of stallions, and so there was another trainer there, and so we worked together and started 2-year-olds and most of it, because back then the primary focus was the reining futurity. That was all there was.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had your focus was starting those young colts, start them at 2, because your reining futurity is it's in November of the 3rd year of the horse.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it started. And then down there in Texas, because between Oklahoma and Texas, that's where everything happens. So you have a high concentration of trainers, especially reiners, that goes from Oklahoma City down to Fort Worth, Dallas. And then you also have a lot of cutters, because in Fort Worth, they have the cutting futurity. So it used to be, we're talking about 30 years ago, used to be where you had first the reining futurity in Oklahoma City, and then just right after that one, it used to be only, if I remember correctly, 4 or 5 days, no more than that. Now it's like a 2-week thing. And so just right after the reining futurity, you had the cutting futurity. So people used to come down and from Europe, from all over the States, and go to the reining futurity and then go right down to the cutting futurity. So when you are in that environment, you get to meet everybody who gravitates in that world of the reining. And I'm sure it's the same in the English world. Once you gravitate around the dressage people, after a while you get to meet everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's how I got to meet all the biggest names we had back then, and I got to ride with a lot of them. And because once you know them, after it's not just the futurity, but after the shows, you still go see them, and you go to people. And sometimes where you're at home and train your horses, then you get stuck with things.
Yeah.
And so you call them up and say, I don't know, hey, Mike, can I come and ride my horse down at your place tomorrow? And so you load up your horse and you drive down there. And it very much a community. And of course, you don't get along with everybody, it's human. But
you choose.
yeah. But it's mostly, really friendly, and you can go ride from one trainer to another, and there is an exchange of opinions. And sometimes you say, hey, I'm stuck with this. What do you think? Do you have some insights on it? What would you do? And so it's an exchange of advice, and even for the horses is good to get out of the house and ride, in different, not only a different environment, but different grounds, because we don't all have the same ground in the arenas. So it's also good for the horses to experience a different dirt, different sand, different so that's
You were also talking about that there was a street with all these
that's High 35. It's a highway that goes north and south, and it goes through Oklahoma City and straight down to Dallas, Fort Worth in Texas. And it's Highway 35, so we just call it High 35. And it started pretty much in the late 90s. No, actually, what I'm saying, maybe yeah, early 90s, late 80s. People, because the States is really big, and sometimes you have to drive 2 days to get to the
Yeah.
futurity. And then you're always, especially if you're a trainer who has reining horses and cutting horses, then you basically stay down there for a month, sometimes 2 months, because you can't just drive 2 days, unload your horses, and go show. You drive 2 days, and then your horses have to rest, and then you have to pick up your training a little bit, and then they have to get used to the sometimes new climates,
Yeah.
and new dirts, new grounds, new everything. So, and when you're done with the show, if you're done with reining and go show cutters, then you're between Oklahoma City and Dallas, which is about, if I remember correctly, about a 3 or 4 hours drive, something like that. And so you have to stay down there. And then sometime you do business, you have to go see horses and buy some and sell some. So everybody found out then probably was a better idea to move close to those two locations. And little at the time, it got to where people trainers started buying ranches along this highway. So you have a whole bunch of little towns, but very small. It's almost like villages. Some of them, we used to say, "Don't blink, or you're gonna miss it" as you go through it.
Lost confidence in the saddle? I can help. My Get Back on the Horse program is designed to help you overcome fear and enjoy riding again. Let's get you back in the saddle with confidence. Click the link in description to
So
join.
it started with Gainesville, Texas, which is about should be about an hour drive from Dallas, something like that. And there, a lot of horse people started moving in Gainesville. And then, as it happens, as the real estate started to be in demand, the prices are going up.
Yeah.
And so from Gainesville, people move a little bit out towards Oklahoma City. And that's how it went. And now you find a lot of the biggest names in the industry are along I-35. And it also makes it easier to do business because, especially when you come from Europe or from Japan or whatever for those events and wanted to buy horses and do business, then you don't have to drive all over the country.
No.
You just go, you have a 4-hour drive in a day, you can see a lot of places. So
And
they call it.
It will be a little competition between the people and also a cooperation, so
No,
to
it's
speak. Yeah.
it's it's more a cooperation
Yeah.
because, for example, if you come to my place and I don't have the horse you're looking for, let's say you come and try to buy either a young horse or a broodmare or whatever, and I don't have it, but I know Mike down the street has what you're looking for,
Yeah.
then I'll just call up Mike and say, "Hey, I got a customer here needs a horse like this, like that. I know you have it. You still have it. We can come and see it." And then we all get into my car and go down to Mike and see the horse. So, and that's how the industry thrives.
Yeah.
Instead of being, I'm not going to tell anybody, it's just going to be my customer. And my gosh, if
Exactly.
it goes down to the neighbor, I'm going to lose him and I'm going to lose his business or stuff. No, it's not, because at the end of it, there's room for everybody. And the way you ride, your feelings, your hands, your seat, your feet are not the same as mine.
No.
So you may be doing good with some lines of horses, and I may be better with some other lines. So the point, it's all about the horse. In this case, to do the best you can to win, because we're talking about competitions.
Yeah.
So if I know you're better with a certain line, then I'm going to go to you. And if I want another type of horse and I know me as a trainer, I'm not super good with that line, then I'm going to tell you, hey, go down and see Joe over there because he does really good with those horses. So it's
And
really a
then you're sure that
cooperation.
the people come back to you as well when you
Yeah,
have something that
exactly,
they have. Yeah.
exactly. And so no, it's a pretty nice, and unfortunately, we don't see that in Europe.
No.
And it's a shame because it's a big industry, but it's not really that big if we look in the big scheme of things, you know. And I think it would thrive more, and especially the horses, because at the end of it, they are the one who suffer all of this or win in all this
Exactly.
situation.
Yeah.
It would thrive if we could all cooperate, you know. And if people would understand that my feelings on a horse are not the same as yours,
That's right. Yeah.
and sometimes you even have trainers, and I know many of them who are really good horse people, horsemen, horsewomen. They're exceptional, but they don't show.
No.
So they stay home, they train their horses or outside horses, and the people don't hear about it other than, you know, the people in the industry. And when they come up, their name come up and stuff, people don't know that the average customer, let's call it that way, don't know them because they never heard their name, because they don't show, they're not on the internet or whatever. So they think it is a nobody.
Yeah, and young people looking up to people who are in world class competition,
Yeah.
and also the breeding the world class stallions, and they go for them, and maybe they find a horse that is too much for them.
Yeah, exactly. And that this is kind of a slippery slope, you know, to talk about it, because there's a lot of money involved.
Yes.
So as we all know, when there is a lot of money, then sometime, not always, but sometime ethics and common sense, you know, go out the window. And it should not be that way, you know. It should be to where if somebody comes to you and say, hey, I want that horse because I love his color and stuff, and I'm ready to pay, you know, $1 million for it. You as a trainer or a breeder, you should tell that person, no, that horse is not, it's not good for you. It's not the right horse for you. You're going to be miserable with that horse because it's too much, it's this and that and that. But unfortunately, on one side, that doesn't happen very much because, of course, you know, they have bills to pay and they want to sell that $1 million horse. And on the other hand, even the customer does not understand, you know.
No.
And
in the end, it's the horse that is
exactly.
suffering.
Exactly, because what's going to happen to that horse?
Yeah.
The client who becomes the new owner and does not have the skills to take care of that horse or to manage that horse as far as riding, then it's going to blame the horse. Well, this horse is disrespectful, it's stupid, it's this and that, it's so much. And so it's going to end up selling the horse. But by the time the horse gets sold, the horse has a baggage.
A damage. Yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes it's damage, but sometimes it's only bad habits.
Yeah.
And so the next owner ends up with this horse. And if it's a owner with skills and good judgment, it's okay. You know, it can go on and do something. But if it's another not so skillful owner, then the horse is going to end up to a trainer, and then the trainer, because it's a good horse, is going to win, and it's going to do all kinds of stuff, and then the horse ends up being maybe worse, and then you end up, with this never-ending thing of selling, and at the end of it, it becomes so unmanageable that it's like, it becomes dog food.
Want to get back on the horse? Grab my free mini course. It's packed with simple tips to help you overcome anxiety and get back on your horse again. Click the link below to download. I've been a horse dealer some years ago, and I can see the problem. And many years ago, it was like people want, as I said, a horse who was breeding with this stallion and all these things, so they could put a sign on the box and said, oh, I own one of these horses.
Right.
But I feel that today this is going down, and that's a very good thing, because I think that the people think once more, because it's so it costs so much to have a horse. So they want a horse that they can have fun with, instead
Exactly.
of be proud of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah. And it's which is a very good thing, because
It is.
If you think about it, the biggest part of the horse industry, it's made up of hobby riders. And
Exactly.
when I'm saying hobby riders, it's not a bad word,
No.
It's a hobby rider is somebody who has a profession outside of being a horse trainer, and has horses because he loves horses, because it's his hobby, and then he rides either once or twice a week, or just on weekends, or maybe a week here, a week there. So it's not a derogatory term, hobby rider. But yeah, it's good that people are starting to understand that competition or not just the only
that's
thing.
what I feel. Maybe I'm together with the other sort of people now when I'm not dealing with horses. But what I can see on Facebook, and when I'm talking with people, they have twisted the mindset around horses, and that's a good thing.
And I agree with you. We're starting to see more and more of just everyday people, non-professional, who maybe also tried competition at one point, but then got tired of it. And more people are getting really sick and tired of the environment around this, of this pushing for just making money and having fame, and it doesn't matter about the horse, really. It's only about money. When you think in the reining, I'm talking about the Western world, because that's the one I'm more familiar with. That's the one I know. I've been in this industry for 35 years now. And if you think in the reining, you have barns with 30, 40, 50 horses in training. And at the end of it, you can only bring 3 at the futurity.
That's right. Yeah.
So if you think about it, how many horses do you go through in 1 year to bring only 3? And some trainers don't even have 3 to bring. They only have 1.
That's right.
So it really makes you think at the end of it. It's and of course those horses can be good show horses in the next show when they get a little older. But if you think about it, even out of 10, only 1 is something to really think.
Yeah. And people too.
Yeah.
Very many are struggling. They're competing and they thrive, and then they never get up to the top. They are just in the middle.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. And I think it's very important that people today understand, especially the young generation who comes to the horses with this. What I'm seeing, they have tendency to see the horse kind of like I'm doing an hour of horse riding, kind of like I'm doing an hours of tennis lesson or golf lessons or whatever. And you know, they come, they get on their cell phone and the selfies, and they listen yes and no, and they get off and they go on to the next thing.
Mm.
And I think, but they want to show,
Yeah.
because that's the aim, that's the thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's our job as professional to make them understand that there's two different worlds out there. There is the competition world, and there is the you I don't know, let's call it usable working horse world.
Mm.
The horse where also requires training, but it's a
Yeah.
horse you can keep for 20 some years, and you can
Mm.
have fun with it. You can do your little competitions, you can go vacationing with it, you can go to the cafe, have your coffee with it, you can,
Yeah.
you know, and you can really have fun with it. So
Mm.
competition, it's not the biggest aim, the biggest thing, the thing to be in.
No.
You can have a lot of fun with your horse, and you know, in other ways.
Yeah, and you were talking about you speaking Italian, French, and you speak English,
Some yeah, I speak
and
English,
now
Italian, French, survival Portuguese also.
that also, and now where
And
are you now?
now I am in Sweden, and
Yeah,
I think now I'm mastering 10 words of Swedish.
we. Yeah,
It's a difficult language. It's
it is. Yes, I can
the
imagine when you
yeah, the
come
pronounce
from outside. Yeah.
yeah, the pronunciation, it's really, really complicated. You
Mm.
know, I keep joking with the friends here, and I say I'm going to move to Finland because in Finland they don't have the number 7.
Hmm.
Because we, it's really complicated.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, no, but
Yeah.
it's fun. It's you know, it's an adventure, and
Mm.
it,
But
it,
many Swedish people do understand English, and that's a good
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. But it's I still think, you know, when you move to a different country, you should learn the language, because you learn so much more, and it gives you so much better insights,
Mm.
and then you can become part of the culture, and you
Mm.
can really understand what's going on. And
That's right. But as I said, I'm living in Hungary, and that's the world's worst
yeah,
language. So
that's
I'm
true.
just like you. I've made
10
10.
words.
So it's difficult, but
Yeah,
yeah, we do our best.
yeah. It's and it's also fun. You know, you
Yeah.
get things, and
So you are in Sweden, and what are you doing in Sweden?
that's a big secret.
Okay.
No, it's we have to back up a little bit to kind of to make people understand why I ended up here.
Exactly.
And so after my 20 years adventure in the States, where so I got into the, like I think everybody understood, I got into the reining horse world, professional world, and then I got into the cutting. Also, I had my own ranch, and I raised horses and bred horses, trained horses, and I even trained cutters using buffaloes.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that's cool. That's a cool thing. And
Yeah.
because they're less expensive than cattle and last a long time. So you can train your horses on buffaloes. It kind of works the same, even though after you need cattle, but just to train and save money, it's a pretty good deal. And it's really an interesting animal to have around. So anyway, after that, I came back to Europe and worked for a while in France and then in Italy. And then I had the opportunity to move to Portugal. And Portugal is probably the only country in Europe where Western riding has not arrived yet.
No.
So I went down there and I like challenges, and I said, well, hey, maybe it's a good place to start, and the weather is good, and so I went down there and I started my own thing there in the southern part of Portugal. And then Stefan Forsman moved to Portugal. And so when I saw that it was on a Facebook group there, when I saw his post saying he was moving to Portugal, I said, ha, I'll be darned. Stefan is coming to Portugal. So I met Stefan in the States a long time ago. We were at a horse show. Both of us were going there just to see other people and see horses running. And you know how it is when you have a week show, you see the same people every day. And sometimes you sit there at the hamburger joint, you're eating something, then you start talking with the people sitting next to you.
Yeah.
So that's how we started talking and became friends. And then he went back. At that time he was living in Montana, so north of the United States, and I was down in Texas, Oklahoma. So I kind of always followed it. It was I was curious about his way of doing things, because it's true, it's weird. What he does is really strange. And I have to admit, in 35 years of career in this industry, I'd never seen somebody work like he does. And you get to talk to him. It's kind of curious and stuff, but then he goes on with his life. I goes on with my own life, and he comes back to Europe, and I come back to Europe, back and forth. And so here we are in Portugal. So I'll be darned, there he is. So we got in touch, and we were the only two people in the whole country of Portugal that had this professional Western riding, horsemanship, whatever you want to call it, background. Because most of the people in Portugal are all people that come from the English background. So it's dressage, jumping, working equitation, and so we were the only two. And then we said, well, we were both trying to get this Western thing going, this horsemanship stuff going down there. So we joined forces, and we started working together. And which I think it's a good combination, because he has a background in real life working horses on the ranches and packing. And when we talk about packing horses, is basically when you take a horse and you have horses or mule behind you that carries packages. That's where you're packing. And you're going in the forest, in the wilderness, and you set up camps, and you do all that cowboy stuff. And I had my competition background, and so we joined forces, and we tried to do a few things down there. And that's where we ended up with the 3 horses we have now. This are our own personal horses. 2 I rescued from the gypsies down there. yeah, there were, and I didn't know when I got there. I didn't know. Okay, Italy, the animal welfare situation is not the greatest.
No.
It's pretty bad. But Portugal, in some aspects, it's even worse, if we
Wow.
can get any worse than that. Especially with the population, the Cigano, um, because it's a nomadic population, and their life depends on the horses, so they make a living by breeding, by trading and horses. But it's terrible. It's really, really bad. So I ended up with those two mayors, and people used to tell me, say, "Oh yeah, but why don't you have quarter horses? Why don't you buy, a super horse?" I said, "Why? I don't want to compete.
No.
It's over my competition time. I don't want to do reining. I don't want to do well, it's impossible to do reining in Portugal. There's no structures, no nothing. Cutting, it's impossible because there's no cattle and stuff. What am I doing with a quarter horse? What do I need a million crowns horse for?" So I ended up with those two, and they have their limitations due to their previous lives, but they're doing great, and I'm having a lot of fun.
And you bought with your heart.
Yeah. I'm having a lot of fun, and I think in a way they are a good business cards, because we can show people that even those discarded horses that nobody wants, because even the Portuguese themselves, they don't want those horses.
No.
Because it's really the bottom of the barrel, even those horses you can do things with. They can still You can still have fun, you can still do lead changes, you can still do side passes, you can stop, you can do basic dressage figures with them, so it's a way also to show people horses, if you treat them correctly and if you train them correctly, even the bottom of the barrel horse can still do things. Exactly. Of course, you're not going to go win the futurity with it, but you can have fun. So we call them the girls. They've been with us all over Europe. And then along the way, we picked up another one, so we have three.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're Lusitano, and that's been pretty fun.
And now you are in Sweden.
Right. Oh yeah. To come back to that. So we started working together. Then what we needed to do in Portugal, we finished that, and we decided, well, let's go back to Sweden. Well, actually, Stefan decided that, and I never been to Sweden, so I said, yeah, hey, for me, it's going to be a new adventure.
And you are back in the
Yeah, I know. Well, actually, so far it's been really nice, because see, I have short sleeves.
Ooh.
In Sweden in September. So now I'm waiting for the and then it's gonna be the yuck.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now we're back here, and it's been really good. It's been really good. We've been meeting some really nice people, and doing some really fun stuff for us and for the people. Now we are in Smallland, and so no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. And when I saw you today, I saw your background. And you told me that it's you doing them yourself. So please tell us about it. What is it?
Yeah. So we make has well, I think the people who know Stefan, we ride without a bit.
Yeah.
We use a side pull. That's for in part was on my side. Stefan always has used side pulls. I used bits because when you show, you need to have a bit. But then with one of those rescue mares, she was so traumatized that I could not use a bit on her. So,
Hi, if you love horses and want to learn more about riding, training, and building a deeper bond, join my monthly membership. You'll get expert advice, live workshops, and a supportive community of horse lovers. Click the link in description to
I
join.
put her on a side pull. And then it is true, unless you show, you don't really need a bit.
No.
You can do everything with a side pull or a bozal, like we use in some of the Californian tradition in the States. The difference is a bozal, it takes a very long time to really know how to use it correctly. A side pull, it's a lot easier to use, especially for hobby riders or people who use a bitless bridles for the first time. And also, some people don't want to spend the time that it takes, the years that it takes to learn how to use a bozal. So that's why side pull, at the end of it, it's a lot easier for everybody. The problem I found, because in the States, I also had a company made bits and spurs. And so the problem I found especially in the last 20 years, they have flooded the market with imported stuff. Some it's good and some it's really bad. So it's very difficult to find the right equipment at a decent price. You can still find good quality, good build, the right equipment that gives you the right feeling, but it costs you an arm and a leg. And today, with everything that's so prices, the feed, the rents, the liveries, the groceries, everything, not everybody can afford to spend 2,000 crowns and for a piece of equipment. So especially if you buy it in the States, and then you get all the import taxes and stuff. So people have tendency to go for the cheap imported things, but the cheap imported things, they are a cookie cutter made. It's like a one shoe should be able to fit everything.
Yeah, it doesn't fit.
No. Because horses, like people, have different shapes, different sensibilities. Some like a little stiffer material, some like a little softer. And first of all, you as the rider should be educated in what feels best for your horse, or in what equipment your horse can give you the best results, which translated in what he likes best and what fits him best. And so this was one of the reasons why Stefan and I decided, well, we should make our own equipment. And I always braided and I always built stuff for been years now. So I experimented a little bit, and then we came up with a side pull that really reflects the feeling we're looking for. And so that's the ones out here that I'm building. And then, since I'm a little weird, I always said, why should the stuff always be brown or black? We don't show, so we don't have show requirements
No.
on collars and stuff. So why can't we have some collars in those things, you know?
Mhm.
So
That's
then I
right.
experimented a little bit. So some are
Yeah.
collars, some have not. But I make, people generally, what I found that's really fun, people do call and say, well, I have a horse, this and this collars. It's kind of like going to get fitted for a special suit. It's like, okay, your horse is this color, maybe the brown, it kind of you won't see it, and maybe the yellow it's better, maybe the pink. And so I had a few that ordered pink and purple,
Yeah.
for example.
Why not?
Yeah, why
Yeah.
not? People are having fun.
Mm.
So, and for me too, it's fun to make and different than just black.
Yeah. Is it a special material you use then? Is it better
uh,
than the thing you buy?
Now it's in the Western world, we each piece of equipment, it's made for a reason, and it's made for a specific feel. Because when we ride, our reins are loose, and we only pick them up when we need. So some people, for example, like reins where are a certain weight, other likes them lighter. And so what we were researching was a side pull who worked somehow like a bosal. This means a side pull that, and you probably have seen it if we're looking at a regular leather side pull.
Mm.
Because it is soft, what happens, you have to tighten the chin strap, under here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So at the end of it, you have a thing that it really squeezes the horse's face.
Yeah.
So it's not a bit, it doesn't hurt like a bit, but it squeezes them.
Mm.
A bosal, on the other hand, rests on the ridge of the nose.
Yeah.
And you don't have any contact on the sides or underneath.
Oh.
So you have the contact when you pick up and need to use it.
Mm.
So that's what we were looking for. And a lot of people also ride with a rope halter. But the problem with the rope halter being too soft, when you pull on one, let's say you're pulling on this side, the whole halter moves.
Yeah.
Right. So instead of having a precise signal, then you have this mixed signals that some horses get confused.
Exactly.
Because let's be, what we're looking for is, how could I say it? We're looking for something where when you ride, the piece of equipment you have, you're going to use it as less as possible. Mm-hmm. This should be the aim that we all have. We have equipment, but we use it less as possible, as little as possible, with as little as pressure as possible. Mm-hmm. So that was the whole idea behind all of this. So our side pulls rest on the ridge of the nose like a bosal. That's why they're a little stiffer. The nose piece is a little stiffer. So you have to adjust it accordingly to the shape of your horse's face. But your chin strap is very loose. And when you use it, it doesn't really move. So your pressure is going to be on the ridge, and then it's going to push whatever you need to go. And as you release, it comes back to its original position. So you have less hindrance as possible. Mm-hmm. Because the aim is like the haute école. It's your head should be invisible, should be so light that nobody can see them. Mm-hmm. So you need the equipment to do that. And when you ride with a rope halter, you can't do that, because as soon as you touch it, the whole darn thing moves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thought behind all of this. And with that, then I started playing with leather and with biotane. And I have to say, I like the biotane, especially in cold climates, because it doesn't get stiff, it doesn't crack. The colors are staying the same. And when it's wet and sweaty and stuff, you just take a piece of cloth and wipe it out, and it's fine. You don't have to oil it. You don't have to do it. And then you have a whole bunch of colors. You can have pink.
But what should you do in the spare time if you don't have leather to put to oil?
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. Then you can learn about signals and horsemanship and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Are you only doing this for your students, or do you sell them to other people?
No, we found out it started where it was for us, and then the students, so we sell them during the clinics, then we have the courses. And then I found out people like it, and I get requests, and people just order.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sold one a couple of days ago. I shipped it in the mail. The lady wanted just plain brown. So I made it. Yeah. And we have a Facebook page that is dedicated just for that, just for the tack part. But yeah. So
how do you
cycles and halters.
How long time have you been in Sweden now?
Oh, just a few months.
Oh, that's so short.
We got here basically at the beginning of the summer. Yeah, probably June, something like that. April, June, something like that.
Wow. So you haven't got the feeling of what people think about reining, or because it's in Sweden it is a lot of English riding, but maybe they are
not yet. I haven't had the chance to meet anybody in the Western environment, let's call it that way. Now we have had at the courses and stuff, we've had a lot of people from just regular people who do trail ride in the woods, or people who jump, and some people do dressage. And no, so far, no Western riders yet.
No,
yet.
But the groundwork is the same.
Yes, the groundwork is the same, especially what Stefan does. And like I said before, in 30 plus years, I never seen anybody work like Stefan. And I've been around all, multiple time world champions and Reining futurity champions. I know all those people. I've ridden with all those people. We've talked and exchanged. And at one point, a friend of mine who is a multiple world show champion and has trained horses for rehabilitated horses, even trained horses for mounted police. So he has a broad understanding, of the horses and different branches and all this stuff. So I was talking to him, and I showed him a video of Stefan doing his, especially his groundwork. And even him, we got to laugh about it. He said, "Well, that's weird, that's really strange. Never seen anybody doing that." But it does work. And at the end of it, we got to think about it and said, it's really strange how you can spend 10, 20, 30 years doing one thing and searching for that result. And here comes this guy that, outside certain like outside Scandinavia and outside certain parts in the States, he never seen it. And it's like, that's weird, but it does work.
Yeah.
But see, there's always something. There's always something to learn and something to open your horizons. And when I started working with Stefan more as like an everyday, occurrences and find out more in depth about his work, yeah, that's really the feeling. And it's like, well, shoot, for 30 some years doing one thing, and then you get to fight with horses, you get into this, conversation with your horse because you want to go, I'm saying a stupid thing, but you want to go left and he wants to go right. And so you're just arguing with him about now you have to go left. No, I want to go right. And then it becomes a big mess.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and you get frustrated and the horse gets frustrated. And then here comes this guy, and it's like, what does he do? Because at the end of it, when you really look at him, it's like, it's almost like he does nothing. It's like, because there is no 2-meter high walls when he works in the round pen. There is no, dust and flames and it's everything. It's really quiet, really calm. The horse just walks, and he walks behind the horse, and it works.
Yeah.
And that's what, in the beginning, that's really was puzzling to me. It's like, okay, what happens in the horse's brain that works so well? Because it doesn't touch the horse. It doesn't stress the horse. It does, nothing. And then horses who you can't touch, horses who would almost kill you, they change in a very short amount of time. They change. It just completely transforms. It's like what happens in the brain of that horse.
And I find it's terrible, because you think, as you said, backwards, and how many horses you have struggled with, and all these things that human couldn't think in that way.
Exactly.
Why do we have to go through so many years and so many horses before we think in a different way?
Yeah, and that's true. And for years, I preached these things for years, and the natural horsemanship movement with Pirelli, with Clinton Anderson, with all of that, like it or not, they have changed the horse industry.
Yeah.
But the problem I have with it is all the videotapes and those, 24 hours clinics and stuff that they have. But the clinics is not so bad because you have an in-person experience, so you can experience things, you can look, and you can stuff. But the videos, they have done more damage than good, because in the video you lose you can't see the feelings. You can't see when the horse communicates with you. You can't see that subtle changes and movements that you need to see in person. So what all those videos have created is a cookie cutter method system. People buy the video and they look at it, and then they go in the round pen, they wiggle that little flag around, and they so and so said 5 minutes on the left, 5 minutes on the right. So they look at their watch and wiggle the flag, and if the horse doesn't look at me, I need to wiggle it a little more, make him run. But they're missing all that life, in that. It's where you have to go. That's where you have to search.
Mm-hmm.
And I myself, after 30 some years, found out things by working with Stefan. And sometimes I pick his brains and we talk about, and what about if the horse look at you this way? What about he looks at you, but then the foot, it's moving in the other direction? What does that mean? Do I continue to go? Do I stop? Why this and that? This is what's missing. And this is what makes the biggest difference.
That's right.
and it's a shame, I think, that people are not allowed to learn that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course it's different, and it goes, take the lead rope, for example. We were just talking with Stefan just this morning about it. When we lead the horses, we lead them with a long lead rope. So you have 3 meters between us and the horse. And the first thing we did, put lead rope, put the halter on, get this long lead rope, and then you move. And through the years, it's one of the most difficult things for people to do. People who come to the courses or even come here for private lessons and stuff. It's the hardest thing for people to do.
Mm-hmm. They want to have control.
Exactly, exactly. Because that is the total opposite of what we all have been taught. They tell you, you put the halter on and you hold that lead rope and you close to the tin and you walk. Because that way you have control on your horse won't step on you. If the horse moves, you can get out of the way, or you can bump him or turn or whatever you need to do to be safe. So when you tell people, especially people who have horse background, the one who never been around horses, it's easy, it's the easiest ones. But when you tell people, long lead rope, leave the 3 meter lead rope between you and the horse, then the survival mode kick in, and it's like, I can't do that, because what about if the horse jumps on me? Exactly. What about if the horse run past me and then I'm gonna ski behind the horse? What if and it's the total opposite. You actually have a lot more control when you have a long lead rope and your horse is educated in the correct way, that when you hold him down here. And see, this is it totally goes against what we've been told forever. Yeah. But when you discover this, then it makes a lot of sense. And and it's amazing, because then your horse is calmer, your horse is quieter, your horse is just follows you around. And
yeah, and I'm thinking about so many things that I have been taught from instructors to do, that I'm in my brain always said, this is crap.
But I agree.
when you tell people to hold the reins and sit with your bottom, and you have to keep the horse's balance. I always said, yeah, but the horse have balance in itself. You can't keep the horse's balance. How? Yeah.
Exactly.
So there's so many things.
Yeah, but it's true. And I found it strange when I give lessons, because I'm also a riding instructor, and a certified one. And sometimes when I have people come in and I tell them, I said, leave the rein loose. Don't touch them unless you really need them, and you just pick up lightly and stuff. And you know, a lot of the reactions, at one point, I had a lady, she was really mad and she never came back because she said, you made me feel like I don't know how to ride. And I've been riding for 30 some years. And I told her, I said, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but it is true. You don't know how to ride. You don't know how to ride, not because you don't know how to stay on the horse and how to make him go left and right, but you don't know how to ride letting go of things. And I think a lot of people get really scared because we've been taught, you know, you have to control. But when you tell people less control, it's actually safer because the horse has a brain, it can think. And once you create that connection with your horse, where your horse knows you're not going to control every single little millimeter of what he does, then he becomes more confident, his self-esteem rise, and then he can save you in certain situation. Example, we go off-road, but well, you know, the forest in Sweden, and we really go off-road in the rocks and the up and down the mountains everywhere. We don't stay on the logging road. We really go inside the woods. And the horses know where to put their feet. And sometimes you look down and you think, okay, that's the safest place. I want you to go there. And the horse said, I'm not going there because I know I can't put my feet there, but I'm going to the other side around that other tree because it's safer. And if we don't learn how to let it go and how to give them the power of decision, then we never are going to be able to establish that relationship that everybody is talking about, everybody is wanting to, you know.
Exactly.
But letting him decide and let him go, it doesn't mean that he has to, you know, when you want to go and catch him in the pasture because he said, no, I don't want to come. It doesn't mean that, oh, okay, just let him go over there, let him do what he wants, you know. So there's a balance into
Exactly.
in all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
so time is running
already.
Yeah.
We just started talking.
That's right. That's right. We have so many things to talk about.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
But I thank you so much for coming today.
Well,
And
thank you for having me. Yeah, it was really
really a
fun.
pleasure.
And yeah. Thank you.
And I hope I meet you again soon.
Sure.
And to all of you out there, thank you for watching this podcast today. And I hope you will enjoy it like me, and that we are seeing each other again as well. So thank you so much for today.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.